We will not let you have Vladimir at any point in any of our games. And to be honest, after watching their games, I agree. I'm like, yeah, you cannot give this guy Vlad. Feels very flexible, and once you hit the late game, if he gets any kills or any farm going, gets pretty insane. Now, this is interesting. GP going to be banned out here by Griffin.
And you know why there's a first round GP? It's because they don't care about anyone other than Noguri's 5th pick on the red side.
Yeah.
That is the most likely way they lose to DAMWON Gaming in game number 2. So they're starting the bans now, and you best believe 2 more counter-pick top laners that Noguri plays are going to hit the ban list in the 2nd round. So a lot of respect being shown. Who else is going to draw a first-round Gangplank ban in 2019? So much left open because they're banning Vlad Gangplank in the 1st round. Means that Lucian will be preferred. Notice, what other team can you say would prefer Lucian to Urgot, Galio, all of the flex laners left open? DAMWON Gaming going to gleefully accept that Urgot and actually pair it with an Ezreal in the 1st round.
Really quick response. They're not going with the Victor into Lucian or anything weird like that. They want that Ezreal. They felt good about Viper's play, their damage. They want to bring it onto their side this time around.
Sion and Irelia could be the 1st round here. Not been the MO so much from Griffin to take their soul lane so early. But I would love to see Chovy on the Irelia. Don't know how much Irelia we'll see when patch 9.2 hits live. But they're not going to be going for Irelia now, and probably going to be banned by either blue or red team in the 2nd round. Chovy hovering over Tarzan's jungle pick. Maybe more redemption Olaf in game number 2.
Yeah, I mean, if you build it in game 1 and you have, you know, that extra gold from the first blood, if you can pull off something similar, why not do it in game 2? Although this time they're going up against a Nocturne, so might be a little bit harder to see things if he is in position. But either way, we'll have to wait and see. Now, what are the extra bans going to be out of Griffin? You were expecting more towards the top lane. I suppose Noguri could play the Urgot, but
you're fine with that. I think you're fine with that because that means that the top laner is much less likely to be any sort of damage threat in the late game. It's largely been Showmaker on Urgot, Lissandra, Galio duty, kind of making his champion pool smaller. If Showmaker had been popping off on the other carry picks, and there'll be more impetus to predict that. We'll see what Griffin's read is. Again, they have the best read on DAMWON of any team we've seen so far, given their 8-0 history against them. And for now, at least, they see Nocturne. They don't want the combo to be as clean in terms of chess pieces around the Nocturne. They will actually throw out a Galio ban to the side of DAMWON game.
And how about a Fiddlesticks ban when you're playing up against Lahens and you don't want to deal with another annoying support? Take away that and the Braum. It's not very common we see Fiddlesticks here.
Would this be an Ornn support game for Griffin? Because Olaf always loved being comboed with Ornn top, just so that he had the Ornn horn to mask his engage with his ultimate. Rise ban, another one of Noguri's favorite top laners. Gragas going to be locked in here. That's a bit of a flex on the side of DAMWON Gaming. Could be support, could be jungle. Actually, it won't be jungle. They already have a Nocturne, so we'll throw that one out the window.
Nocturne mid lane.
So it's a blind Gragas support in this particular case. That's interesting. What does that mean for Griffin? Because it's a bit more of a risky duo lane now, the Ezreal Gragas. A lot of options available here. We could see a crazy Ornn, but we're not going to. It's going to be Tahm Kench, safety first, coming through from Griffin.
Now the final pick for them could be into this top lane if Chovy hops onto the Sion. What is Sword thinking? Or maybe what is Chovy thinking as a blind pick into what could be the Urgot?
Oh, if he does this, we could see a Kali last pick from DAMWON Gaming. He likes it into Zoe. Okay, so I'm in Katarina, actually, as a last pick into Zoe. This would be a time for Showmaker to bring out that Predator Katarina. The Echo is a matchup we've seen win, Lava and BDD. BDD showing how good this matchup can be because you can just W onto where the ultimate is used by Zoe. Instead, they go for something a bit more linear. It's actually going to be the Syndra. So no sign of the Katarina. That was the one I was hoping for, but maybe Showmaker not feeling it, and it's going to end up Syndra as the final pick to potentially try to shut down Chovy.
Showmaker strikes me as a Syndra player as well. Not 100% sure. I haven't checked his solo queue in a bit, but definitely something we don't see very often. So I'm excited to see if he can make this work. Zoe can be predictable in terms of her portal jump, so you can make that stun into combo work if you are playing the Syndra. And just a good pick in general against pretty much anything is the Syndra. So I like the pickup there for Showmaker. We'll see if he can pilot that to a victory this time around. DAMWON looking for it in their 9th best of 1 up against Griffin. They've lost 8 in a row. Maybe 9th time is the charm.
Or by the pick power, if the stun hits while the paranoia is in the air, or even just the combo of ults. The unleashed power and also the Urgot ultimate, the Fear Beyond Death, much more likely to arm with so much single target burst coming through from the Syndra. But my worry, Valdez, is that Olaf can just run at Syndra for a lot of the game, and especially if the Olaf is ahead, then the Syndra's positioning is going to be oh so tricky. Sion rolls in as well, and that means that Syndra might only have tanks as potential ult targets, and that's not what you're looking for with the last pick Syndra. Return to the Olaf, chance of the Black Cleaver, chance of the redemption. Will it be old, will it be new? DAMWON Gaming are hoping for the new because the old against Griffin is a loss.
Will we see that redemption here in Game 2? Let's find out now. Here we go, Griffin this time on the blue side. Chovy picking up another one of his big picks. We saw this in the summer season a lot. 2018, the Zoe coming out here. Used to be even stronger. Went through a whole ringer of multiple different nerfs. Still strong enough. As Chovy will bring it here into the mid lane.
Kind of a shift back of his champion pool because was a bit of a role player, it felt. A slave to the Zoe Gallios in 2018, but talked about in the offseason wanting to bring more pressure onto himself, more solo carry potential on champions like Aurelia. And Casper Cup showed us the Aurelia was in order. His Akali has been so scary. Banned in this game by DAMWON Gaming.
Ooh, nice. Takes out the ward.
Attack speed, feels pretty good for the Olaf at level 1.
They place another ward, but first ward victory goes to Tarzan. Not the only victory he's had so far. Picked up another one in the hearts of many after building redemption onto Olaf. And now he's soloing down the blue.
Viper and Lehens haven't expended any mana or health, so it should be pretty clear to DAMWON that it's a topside Olaf start. Him clearing the ward was a good sign that was happening. Level 1, I guess a couple of Qs and a Comet proc have put Chovy already into his first chug of the Corrupting Potion.
Press the attack up against that Gragas, who was essentially blind picked into the support role. They banned out Braum and Fiddle and then picked Gragas 4th. So they had a couple of supports they were scared about. And then pick up that Gragas support, which you really do not see too often.
Definitely not with any sort of priority, I agree, Valdez. So not really sure why that is. I guess they wanted more engaged to combo with the Nocturne. But peculiar. We'll see what value it gets in this game. Hoyt's a player we don't talk about a lot, but a player who was top 5 for the last 3 months in solo queue, so mechanics certainly on point. Is Alistair very impressive in the past?
That's something I always love to do in solo queue. If you have this really hard pushing bot lane, you just roam to the second scuttle. You know that your jungle went to the top side. You could pressure the enemy jungle if he happens to be there. Nocturne generally not going to get in there too hard onto the scuttles, but this time around they just pick up some extra CS and gold to their AD carry and Viper, so not a bad pick. They deny it away from Canyon as well.
The way I look at these drafts is a battle of front lines. Not often the case in the current meta, as tanks can be in and out, but to me it's a lot about Sion and Olaf diving in and trying to zone or threaten Syndra and Ezreal, and pretty much the reverse story with large, I guess, Gragas Nocturne, but the Urgot if he can get there as well. If Chovy and Viper can hit the same target, a lot of kill pressure there. Syndra and Ezreal can hit the same target, a lot of kill pressure there. but I would wager that Showmaker and Nuclear will find it harder to push damage onto the backline outside of that Ezreal ultimate. I feel it means to me the reliability might be there more for Griffin. Also with the fact that their front line, Olaf and Sion, very difficult to stop between the unstoppable Onslaught and the Relentless, and the Ragnarok as well. Relentless Pursue and Ragnarok on the same team.
Yeah. So on the bottom side, why the Lucian gets banned out a lot in solo queue and occasionally here in professional play can be so annoying to deal with, especially for melee jungle. Showmaker here has the Predator Olaf. They're going to force that flash. Is pushed away, but the flash on in into Ignite, and it looks like Showmaker is going to go down to the Zoe first blood. Canyon, though, trying to fight back here. Toby picks up the second flash and flashes back in for the double kill. The outplay gets him too, as Toby shows up big time.
Perfect timing for Tarzan to come in with Predator. Syndra too far down the lane. Flashing into Tarzan's not going to be enough against Ignite. Onto the Zoe. The second kill was a toss-up, though. It could have gone either way. But flashing away defensively, and like you say, re-engaging at the end does it for Chovy. This is what happens early. No ultimate on the side of Showmaker to just ult the Olaf and stop his onslaught. Get the first kill, and Canyon does some great brawling at the end. Takes down Tarzan. But one flash defensively, the second one offensively. The more sparkles enough to take down the Nocturne.
Gotta love that. And also, 2 Dark Seals picked up here for Zoe, as he's not fooling around this time. Carried game number 1, got super fed on his Akali. Looking to do the same this time on the Zoe. Syndra counter pick into it, not gonna work out this time up against that Olaf Predator gank that he had so much trouble against. Really nice timing there too. It was right before Showmaker wanted to back, and he was low on health and mana, had used all of his potions, all that kind of thing. It was just the perfect gank, the perfect storm to get Chovy ahead.
Definitely the time in the laning phase, the first 5 minutes of the game, where there was kill pressure, because for the rest of the game, there was not, especially with no Predator available. Onto Tarzan previously. Double Dark Seal is just the most combat power you can get for 700 gold, so I'm sure it's a gold timing thing here. Otherwise, one of those Dark Seals would likely be a Doran's Ring. Seeing Chovy walk up. He's got double buffs and an item lead, so he's feeling pretty spry in the mid lane.
You can see how the Syndra can kind of predict where the Zoe's going to hop forward, so you can get some free damage as long as you're not getting hit by paddle stars, in which case, absolutely not free.
You know what's a bit free, though? Is to talk about the fact that Chovy didn't go Cleanse or Barrier, and with no Summoner and the Nocturne Paranoia up, pretty hard to outplay a Nocturne dive and any Syndra damage topside.
Blocks that ultimate sword, getting ignited down. Looks like the ultimate of Nuguri, though, is going to time out. Maybe used it a little bit early there. Wanted to secure the kill, but didn't have enough follow-up damage. We didn't mention it, but right after the double kill in the mid lane, sword just barely got away from the kill from Nuguri. Nuguri went back home and picked up a Ko, just to say, I wish I was playing something more aggressive, but I'm still going to dominate lane on an Urgot.
We're seeing it quite a lot this second by Cull coming in just to, like you say, dominate the mid-game gold lead a bit harder. First item rush onto the Urgot. Not as important, you'd love a Black Cleaver, but not in as much of a rush these days to finish that item. So good call out there on that one. Still have to be a bit wary if you're Chovy, like we mentioned though, as Nocturne's Paranoia is for sure available.
And he is nearby, looking for that. Oh, he hits it, and now with no cleanse, no flash, here we go. Canyon trying to get on in, but he's being bursted down. The fear goes through, but Canyon, unfortunately, is just going to be picked away. Tarzan healed to safety as another kill goes the way of Griffin.
And I think that Canyon, once again, in a bit of a funk against Tarzan. I understand popping the ult defensively, but he actually committed to it, and Showmaker seemed surprised. He did not seem like he was ready to push any damage on either member of Griffin. That means the Nocturne's first ult is basically offered in tribute to the side of Griffin, and Chovy gets to continue on his merry ways. Watch the replay of this play. Again, popping Paranoia here is fine, but he dives in, and Showmaker can only scatter the weak and auto attack. He offers nothing else in the skirmish. The rich get richer when it comes to the mid-jungle duo of Griffin.
It's definitely a fantastic, feels-good moment, and I think the Oh, it's kind of interesting. I think our, on the bottom side here, our thing is bugged. Chovy got an assist, and then he's showing no stacks on his Dark Seal, so.
I mean, it's listing as no assist, so not sure about that particular one.
Maybe he didn't attack the Nocturne. That seems kind of impossible.
I guess it's possible.
Maybe he was just feared and was running away. Wouldn't the more sparkles be doing damage? I don't know. Maybe it's not bug. We'll give it the benefit of the doubt for now and update you guys in a bit.
Viper just hard pushing in the bot lane. We saw Canyon around, but it must have been for a counter gank with no ultimate available. Sion hoping that he can get enough items, stop being a threat of a solo kill to Noguri. And look, it's redemption.
It's back.
And you know what? It's being built by Olaf as well.
Because why not? Of course, that's what you would do on Olaf.
Guys are joining us late, hearing about the Olaf with redemption being the thing. A couple of reasons that might give us an inkling to it. The Genius Hunter means that cooldown reduction was in full display. Basically every skirmish, the redemption was going off from the Olaf. It's also that Olaf, of all junglers, has the least impetus to finish his Cinderhulk. Tank junglers who want a bit of extra clearing speed want to finish the Cinderhulk, and then obviously later in the game, the percentage buff on the health feels good. But a scaling jungle item with a champion that already has super fast clear, not so important. So decides against Black Cleaver, goes redemption for a bit more teamfight utility. Speaking of fights,
he has his flash, but he has that ultimate blocked. Still has a stopwatch, though. They're going to come in and try to kill him. There it goes. Nuguri able to pick it up, and here comes Tarzan. And Zombie Scion looking for some kills.
For more.
Sword going to get one. Here's Showmaker to make his way up first. But a nice one-for-one trade as Tarzan is able to respond.
Not sure why Gragas on the back time. They're losing a lot of health on this bot lane turret at the same time. One of the few times where Zombie Scion's actually a pretty formidable foe. When the Olaf is there perma-slowing next to him. They get another summoner out of it. Still ahead in kills, and the gold lead is bigger than it ever was in game number 1. 2,700 gold. Gonna watch the replay here. It's just as the ult comes up. Redemption not actually going to get a heal in here. Could have actually stasis and then probably got the redemption heal after the stasis, but at the end of it, Sword, his death not in vain, able to chase in and get the answering kill on Noguri.
Follow up here as Tarzan has seemingly started the Rift Herald and doesn't seem scared. Has to use his own stopwatch, but they got to be careful. Big knockup, though, onto the Nocturne, and they're just going to take him out. As Toby does get the big pick there. Nicely done by Sword to help him. He's just going to flash the wall as now Hoyt has made his way in here first. Will they continue up? There's the flash on in. No cask available. Just going to hit the Tom Kent away, but Toby somehow picks up another kill, and the head flashes for the Devour and saves the Scion. It's an absolute rout over here at the Rift Herald as Sword survives, everyone survives, and Griffin pick up 3 kills.
Forgive the pun, but there seems to be no redemption for DAMWON Gaming against Griffin. All they want is that single win, Valdez. They don't want there to be a perfect season for Griffin, and they want to take them down at any point. But the skirmish healing and damage the redemption provides actually is really big in that skirmish again. It's almost off cooldown. Just look at it. He's got so many assists that Ingenious Hunter is way up there in terms of stacks. We watch the replay. It begins with Tarzan being out of the fight. Chovy has to flash defensively, because Gragas is the first one there. In every way, DAMWON should have this team fight. They get all their members impacting us so early, and yet, from the redemption onwards, Griffin take them down.
Trying desperately to kill Sword, but they can't. Sword not quite able to hit that, but the redemption you were talking about heals all 3 of them, keeps Sword alive, and Lahens gets there.
Just think about the redemption here. It's what, maybe an 800 health swing? 300-400 damage onto the enemy, similar amount of healing to the side of Griffin. That's all you need to have a perfect team fight and for no one to go down. It really was a really big reason they win that particular skirmish. And it's back up as Scion is getting camped by now Hoyt and Nuguri.
And Canyon and Nuclear. No, they're just, swapping here, but not having fun in the bottom lane, it seems, as Viper on Lucian is up 40 CS. Just Viper things. Tarzan taking a Cloud Drake will make them all faster. And it wasn't a bug. The Zoe actually did not get any assist on the Nocturne kill, so now has 7 stacks on both Dank Seals, as he has picked up 5-0 and 1. means that Jovi's now at 73 KDA currently.
I don't think the Redemption jungle meta will come in
74.
as a more kind of thought-provoking point. Not many champions delete jungle camps and also don't need any of the Cinderhulk stats in the early game like Olaf. Again, he was the one jungle going just straight into Black Cleave. I guess the only other examples are Shaco going into damage items instead of finishing the jungle, and Chan is Griffin up top.
He hits it too. You are so dead as there it goes. 6th kill goes over to Chovy, picks up another one, and that, guys, might be the double nail in the coffin as Chovy says, hey guys, you banned my Akali. Do you remember Zoe? She's back.
Chovy brings back an oldie, and we were only just getting to the point where we can start banning his new champions. Shame that he plays his old champions just as well. 10 stacks on the Dark Seal meant that he already could delete the Ezreal, and, you know, probably going to come back with a bit more damage in the item build to ensure that stays this way the entire game.
7-0-1, having a ball right now as there are just games where players on Griffin just look like they're smurfing. I mean, you see the Fiddle, you see the Evelynn on Tarzan. That was the big one for me. It's like, yeah, just another solo queue game. No, this is DAMWON Gaming. They were undefeated before today.
Just ahead of the play, Valdez. The trouble bubble hits, and then he's dead. Did the Q even register? Did Tom Kent even get an assist? I don't know. It sounded like it did, but I'm not sure. Cleaning up the second one, and just, especially when it comes to KDA, the rich get richer. I'm looking forward to the featured matchup in the SKT series because it's looking like we might have an 80 KDA coming through from Chovy.
I mean, the dream is 100, right? You want to be over 100, and then you can say you're kind of a baller. I'd say he's already kind of a baller here at nearly 80.
I would wager no professional player has ever had a KDA of 100 because that's a lot of time to get that many kills and assists.
Yeah.
That's going to take 7-8 games minimum, right? If you're popping off every game and crushing falls, it seems very unlikely to go that long with that much of a KDA, but add 8 to the number. Like you say,
76.
He's getting close.
No Medjais, I'm kind of disappointed. Sold one of his stank seals, now it's just a Dark Seal.
I guess he went Oblivion Orb and Merc Tread, so doesn't have double Magic Pen to go for the Medjais as early.
Yeah.
A bit of restraint being shown, rare thing from Chovy. We zoom out, Sword, for all his struggles in lane, can still run at the enemy and dive into the Syndra, who, you know, probably isn't killing anyone this game. She's only going to get to press her buttons onto Sion. Pushing through mid lane, and Viper's turret diving, because why not?
Yeah, you know, doesn't look like DAMWON have any legs to stand on here.
They just don't have any gold, Valdez. Unlike game number 1, we're close to 10,000, and it's 17 minutes into the game.
It's Sword. He's like, guys, let's go for the dive. I got this. Backs away, but probably could have gone for it. Same build here from Tarzan again, Hex Drinker as well. Still dealing with the Syndra frontline ultimate to his face, so he wants to make sure he can survive that. The Redemption stands strong. Will pick up 2 victories in a row here in the LCK.
And ever since Kesper Cup, in all their best of 3s and best of 5s, there's been at least one game in every series where Griffin have looked as a team like they're smurfing. There's been individual games where they struggled. First game against Afrika, miraculous team fight to get behind their re-debut after the long break around Worlds. First game against Hanwha Life. Should have been a Hanwha Life victory, but weren't able to pick it up. But there's always the game 2s where they back it up and have games like this.
Canyon is not in range. Will he even go for it? No. It looks like just another dead member of DAMWON. As Nuguri is so sad, man. There have been so many skirmishes against Sword where he's in the lead, he's about to kill him, and then someone on Griffin comes and saves his life to make it at least a 1-for-1. Jovi's just a sniper, so it shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. He was looking for the kill there too. Might as well.
And I'm going to be bold and say I think Noguri's sadness started a bit earlier than level 1, because even in pick and ban, last time DAMWON played Griffin, 3rd game of the Kesper Cup semifinal, Noguri died 10 times on Urgot in 30 minutes. He was basically chain feeding, not from mistakes, but from in lane getting answered. Then he tried to come and help his mid lane, got killed. He was dying every half second. And speaking of deaths,
well, out of range as Chovy is not going to go for it this time around. Had his flash, so surprised he didn't go for the kill. But, yeah, he's just showing off his stuff, you know?
I think it's turned into a bit of a exhibition match for Griffin to show off their stuff. Item leads in every role. Sword seems to be the only person who's always suffering when we change over to his lane. But he's building for team. He wants a Warmogs and the ability to engage, and he will have that very soon. Mountain Drake goes the way of Griffin to give them a bit more Baron threat. It's a visual bug. We're used to it now, Valdez.
We're just having a bit of fun here in game 2.
I guess Chovy wanted to check the brush there. Curious. They're very worried.
Yeah.
I wonder who would be there. Who would it be? It wouldn't be Nocturne. Strange, but safety first. Probably good mechanics to have. The thing we'll say about that,
He's practicing, you know.
But let's talk about that play. In a different game, maybe you actually stuff a turret dive onto Zoe. Now, this game, where you're a million gold ahead, it doesn't matter. But if you develop bad habits in games where you're winning by a lot, you might actually play like that in games where you're losing. So it's a lot of thought into what could just be a pretty inconspicuous thing. But I don't mind players always playing like the game is on the line.
Yeah, I can definitely imagine VOD reviews where Griffin stomp a team 2-0 and CV Max is like, you didn't check the bush? Are you serious? You
especially CV Max, the guy that
know.
said that his players are gladiators in the Coliseum, and you know, he's always very severe with his analogies. And what did he talk about, holding a bomb and stuff like that? We're not actually making things up. There's an Invent Global
He's
interview.
an intense guy, you know?
He is, and so maybe Chovy just doesn't want to get any sort of, you know, any sort of negative feedback, whether it's of the physical or verbal variety.
Exactly.
After the game.
Playing it safe in more than one way, in the game and out of the game. Because he probably knows he'd be criticized for something, even when he goes 7-0-2 Zoe.
No coach other than Koma kind of had that air about him, the air of, I don't care what your scoreline was, don't make this mistake.
You know, honestly, well, that's Zoe right now. I think it's a good kind of personality trait for a coach to have. Seems kind of harsh, but especially in traditional sports, you see that a lot. Experienced it a lot, and definitely seems effective in one way.
They're able to chase DAMWON out of their own jungle. How many jungle camps would you say are DAMWON's this game? Maybe Wolves is the only one we could suggest. Every other one seems to be a Griffin camp.
They have their little corner over there with 2 wards, and that's it. No other wards on the map currently.
Griffin don't want to make a Baron start. Probably the only way the game can change is a paranoia. And remember that you can just go for a scrying, a blue trinket, and then ult in. And speaking of the paranoia,
sad Scion bowling tonight. Can he get out of this one as Redemption and Tom Kent and the double knock-up stun come in? Sword is sad, but he has very friendly teammates that make him not sad anymore and save him.
Olaf getting assists across the map with his orbital Nuka Redemption. Who needs to play jungle Karthus? Get on this level, Spirit. Tarzan says in this game, inhibitor line finally going to be broken, and Viper can't even be bothered being there.
Jovi's goal, he just wants to break 80 KDA today. That's the goal for tonight for Zoe. I believe he should be at around 78 is my guess, maybe 79 at this point. Yes, 79. So we're 1 kill or assist away here for Chovy to break 80 KDA after this series.
Wonder if we can have a total of some of the bounties that people have had over the course of the season. I feel like the richest man in the league. It's likely to be someone like Tarzan or Chovy. Watching the replay here, Redemption means that Sword is not going to die. And you know what? Zoe does the rest.
Is Redemption OP?
Redemption Olaf, new OP.
Questions to be answered. Will Viper die? Another one here. He's trying to get away. Hoyt doesn't want to make that a reality as he, well, misses his body slam.
How does no one die, ever?
Sword on the Scion is just too fancy with his feet. Makes it away.
Great, backing up there. Scion strong enough to first build space, then speedway away. Already I'm seeing the YouTube clickbait videos of, you won't believe what this Olaf build can do.
Yeah.
it's redemption and it's a lot of healing.
Do you feel like it's a win more from ahead kind of item?
No, because it's so cheap that you get it so early that as long as you're getting Ingenious Hunter, you got it up so often that I actually, again, good reasons for it. You have it much quicker. It's a really weird equation, though, because Kindle Gem is great for Olaf, and Phage is great for Olaf. And yes, that's all you have for the same amount of gold as Redemption. But Redemption does a lot in skirmishes, so if it's 2v2s and 3v3s, the health swing that it provides can be so big. It's kind of like a mini Karthus ult, mini Soraka ult at one, so hard to gauge. I think in solo queue, stick with the Black Cleaver if you are playing Olaf at home, as Griffin would like a Baron buff and to go home as soon as possible.
Definitely don't try this at home unless you're 5-man flex queuing or something like that. As Baron looks very tasty for Griffin. They want a little bit more. They want to end this game.
Paranoia.
Looking to get some vision to start as Sword just is going to delete Hoyt with the help of Chovy here. And now it's Nuggery's turn as he goes legendary once again. Chovy just picking up all the kills, making another one onto the Syndra. As everybody's dying in the jungle, they dared to step foot in Griffin's jungle, and they paid the price.
And that's going to be the Abyssal Voyage bot lane. Instead of a Baron start, maybe they want some Nexus turrets here to Viper and Lahens.
At this point, feels like anything is possible as Griffin want to come in here and bite off that Nexus turret and rotate into the mid lane. But Tarzan, meanwhile, just doing his own thing. He can always redemption from downtown. Doesn't seem to mind it. As down will go the inhibitor turret, make that a second one up on the top side. Griffin don't seem to need the Baron. They're just way too far ahead, guys. As Chovy now 14 kills and assists in total in this game.
Kind of the weird thing, and the position I'm at, I want to talk about Valdez, is the last time we had a moment like this, we had it to some degree in 2018 Sprig, but the last time it really felt like this was 2015 summer. Again, that was when SK Telecom T1 with Marin in the top lane. Bless his heart, did retire, shout out to Marin. Went 17-1. And as a caster, that was my first LCK split, so I had to contend with everyone hating me for not being Monty, but it was, it was a tough time.
Dark times, as same can be said here.
He's dead,
for,
it doesn't matter. My story's more interesting. Is the job I had then, when every time SKT played, because everyone wants to watch SKT, they're the team that's dominating, it was trying to actually give them a foil. Because when you're beating everyone, it's very hard to be like, watch this match, it's going to be awesome. It's like, well, watch this match, they're going to win 2-0. It feels like Griffin might be the first team since then, 4 years later, where every time we talk about other teams, things like this happen.
You see that Viper just flashes to safety and is now being body blocked by the Tom Kents. He's still alive!
Yep.
What the hell is going on? Finally, he goes down. Lahens not able to devour a second time on this patch.
Chovy's here.
Everybody's gonna die. As, yep, that's all I got. Double kill here for Olaf. And they're going for the victory. Griffin, not very surprisingly, take out another opposing team 2-0.
Every good hero needs a villain. Superman got way more exciting when Kryptonite came in. What is Griffin's Kryptonite? Because we've confirmed it's not DAMWON Gaming.
It's not going to be DAMWON. The question is, will it be SKT? One of the big matchups we will have coming next week. Make sure you guys are tuning in for that one, as this one, I expected it to be a little bit closer. I expected Nuggery to slip into Vladimir or get a big carry game, but once again, Griffin proved they are immune to anything and everything DAMWON Gaming tonight as they move to 9 best-of-3s, 1 in a row against DAMWON. DAMWON have not won a single time.
Just a decimation by Griffin in game number 2, especially, like we said, exhibition match talking about Superman. You had to try to find things to talk about because on screen, it didn't need too much more explanation. Just dominating them with Chovy hilariously ahead very early in the game. You can see why so many teams, they always hold their breath. They always change their mind when they're speaking about Griffin in an interview. Can we win a single game? Please, I'd love to win a single game. Seems like most teams would love to do that. DAMWON Gaming joins the list of teams that have been unable to do so. That means that Griffin now rise to 16-0 since the start of the Casper Cup.
As long as they don't pull a 2018, we're going to go Funnel Lucian when it's not really working. I feel like these guys are definitely on pace for, 15, 16 wins. Will they get the magical run? Question still remains to be answered. Kind of a funny moment. CV Max immediately goes to Sword and gives him a big hug, says, I know you suffered a little bit in that game, but it was all for the cause. And made some actually big plays happen with the help of Tom Kent towards the end when they were super far ahead. But either way, every man on Griffin's got a job. Sword's job is to be that solid man on the top side. This time it was just doing the best with what he was given, which was a lot of ganks. And still made it happen. Griffin pick up another win alongside many not surprising things that have happened today. Griffin, will they meet their maker? We'll have to wait and see.
Such an interesting story for Griffin. We talked a lot about their rise in summer. But let's talk about after summer. After the disappointment of losing to KT, they kept scrimming. They were scrimming teams in Worlds when they were not in Worlds. And that was not just at the end. People know about them beating IG and Fnatic in scrims. But I'm talking about right after LCK Summer. They took a very short break and went straight back into it and were scrimming against teams in the promotion tournament that are arriving for the boot camps. They were still playing. And people always say, what does off-season mean? But getting themselves into form then dominating the Kesper Cup, what does that mean? Then we come into the LCK. It's a different level of Griffin than the team that took LCK Summer by storm. Because while in Game 1, I'm like, okay, too much scaling. It's never funnel illusion. It's never just comps where you're like, I don't know what you were thinking here. They had one of the worst drafts we've ever seen in summer season when they had a no damage comp that could do so little, had no threat onto an enemy Kog'Maw. And yet here, another solid draft, another easy victory. Griffin have continued to rise and put their hard work into momentum that is almost unanswerable. SK Telkom T1 have such a handful to deal with on Thursday, and if they don't get it done, then you start looking at the list and saying, maybe Sandbox is the best hope.
That's what I was going to mention. It doesn't feel like in my mind when I think about the matchup that SKT is going to take it. If I had to predict it, maybe just another 2-0, but maybe Sandbox are that magical team. Everybody was saying 9th place, 10th place, maybe 8th place at best. We'll have to see if maybe they're the kryptonite here for Griffin, as it doesn't seem like really anybody else is. But again, that matchup will come later. Double kill here for Toby in the mid lane, got things started. Flashes back, flashes forward, says, I'm Zoe, la-di-da-di, picks up another kill, and has a lot of fun doing it.
Find it weird you knew the comms there, but that's pretty much exactly what happened.
Exactly what he said, actually.
And they rolled through, and from there, just straightforward stuff. The side of Griffin had some nice moments, DAMWON trying to turn on to the Scion, but they just couldn't kill him enough times. That was their frustration. They just couldn't actually take him down. And Canyon, to me, once again, while it wasn't Tarzan reading him like a book, he had a lot of weird errors. His ult into the mid lane just compounded their problems around the Syndra and Nocturne, and then the paranoias didn't matter. The outnumberings happened, the redemptions came in, healing Olaf is the deadliest. Crazy stuff.
Oh boy. Of course, Zoe, Toby hops in. He wants more kills and more assists. As you guys saw these highlights, it's Zoe that gets super far ahead, and it's Griffin, so no big surprise here. But we were talking about Griffin versus Sandbox. It's actually the Saturday on the same week as Griffin versus SKT. So that's 2 huge matches for Griffin in a row. They'll have to go up against SKT first on the Thursday, and then Sandbox on the Saturday. So make sure you guys are tuning in for that week. It's going to be a hell of a lot of fun.
Maybe next week is the now or never week for Griffin, because they beat Sandbox and SKT 2-0. I think 18-0 is almost locked in, barring a catastrophe in the draft. Griffin take it down, they bring back the Zoe, and well, that's going to lead to some nightmares for the members of DAMWON Gaming. Very, very, very one-sided. 3 kills, nothing else to the side of DWG Gaming.
There you have it, 21.1 thousand in about 25 minutes. So nearly 1,000 damage per minute. That's what happens when Zoe gets fed like that. And what else can we say? I mean, Griffin is pretty insane. And what do you think? Do you think anyone's going to be able to take them out? Do you think Sandbox have the magic touch? Is it going to be SKT?
No.
No? You don't think so?
No.
Nobody? I'm kind of on the same page here.
I don't think 36-0 will happen. I'm more confident in 18-0 every time I see them play. But in the first round, 18-0 is looking pretty ironclad. So when it comes to the first round, 9 best of threes, 18-0, the speed run. The speed run for Griffin is pretty insane. I think we just have to crown the MVP and then have the MVP interview here to close out the show. Guys, tomorrow it will be LS's debut here, which is going to be a fun thing here. So good to have LS out here. Papa gets his weekend. Papa gets his birthday off.
I know, you get to have a birthday and actually celebrate it.
I'm feeling good about that.
It's different from last year.
Last year I had a Spo TV birthday with you.
Yes.
And the Twitch chat out there. Shout out to all you guys with your Feels birthday mans in the past. This year I'll accept them however what you want. But Chovy's going to accept the MVP in game number 2 of the series, 11-0-5. Let's do some quick math here. I want to say
68 is 84.
84 KDA coming into the SKT series.
He's a little bit scary, and it's not like you can exactly ban out Akali, Zoe, and Galio every game. That's just not going to happen. There's 4 other members that will just destroy you, basically. I mean, they still have Tarzan, Viper, a Hanson Sword. We're going to have a lot of fun, so... Yep, this was the Chovy show. He had a lot of fun as well. We'll see if he can make 100 KDA. That's really the big marker, the big milestone that I assume has never been hit before.
If he hits 100 KDA against SKT, I think we got other bigger things to talk about as well, because that would require some pristine play in that series, and I think it's about time to start wrapping up that show. I want to hear from Chovy again. Not always a man of many words, but hopping and skipping his way to a unique record in the KDA books.
Can't wait to hear what he has to say. I'm sure it's going to be all about what he did in these games, but I'll hand it over to Ji-sun for the translation. Let's get into it.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Ji-sun with today's last interview translation, and we're going to be joined by another double MVP of today. It's Chovy from Griffin. Congratulations on the win. How do you feel?
제가 오늘 되게 잘한 것 같아서 되게 기분 좋네요.
I think I did pretty well. I'm really happy.
네, 담원과의 상대 전적이 현재 오늘
So your
경기까지
score
합해서
against Damwon Gaming,
9게임
you
연승을
guys
하고
are
계십니다.
on 9 games winning streak.
위에 있었기 때문에 오늘 자신감이 있으셨을 것 같은데
And maybe
어떻게
that kind of
대비하시나요?
added more confidence on you guys.
담원 상대로 9연승 하고 있는지는 의식을 안 해서 딱히
I wasn't really aware of the record.
해온 대로
I just
계속
did as
잘하자라는
we did normally
생각으로
do.
경기에 임했습니다.
네, 그 마음이 통했던 것 같습니다. 자, 현재 본인의 KDA
KDA
오늘까지 해서 84.
Has reached
달성을
84.
정말 엄청난데요. 현재까지 유일하게 데스를 한 번만 기록을
And you're the only
했습니다.
player with
기록을
one
좀
death
의식하고
so
계세요?
far. Are you aware of that?
이쯤 되니까 기록을 의식하게 되네요.
Well, from now on, I'm a little bit paying attention to it.
되는데, 앞으로도 조금 데스에 대해서
Are you
생각을 하고
trying?
지켜나갈
Are you
생각이
gonna try not to
있으신가요?
die as much as
제가
possible?
죽어야 하는 상황이 오면은 그땐
If there's
죽을 생각도
a situation where I have to die, I will die for my teammates.
자, 본격적으로 경기 이야기를 해보겠습니다.
Then let's move on to
초비
games.
선수에게 아칼리를 주지 마라.
A lot of people say don't let you play Akali, but someone opened Akali on your side.
제가 아칼리 한 판들이 전부 초반에
Well, the game that I played Akali, actually, I wasn't really dominating in the early game. So that was the reason why I think someone let me play it. But game 2, they banned it out.
걱정이 돼서 밴을
I guess
했다고 생각을 하시는
your
거죠?
Akali was quite scary for them. Yeah, I think so. After seeing me performing Akali,
네,
I think they found
알겠습니다.
out that they
자,
cannot stop me on Akali.
바로 타잔의 구원과 또 그 연계로
And there
상대의
was this
캐리어를
team
끊는
fight
장면이
where
있었습니다. 지금
Tarzan
영상으로
used his
보면서
redemption
얘기를
and
나눌
you guys were able to
텐데요. 자, 이 장면이죠.
take down a lot of the
여기서
players.
신현 선수가 구원 때문에 자리를 피하다가
This is the highlights.
저때 어떻게 콜이 있었나요?
What
저
kind of
자리에는
shot
대기라고
call went
있었던
back and
거예요?
forth? Were you just trying to bait play it over there?
저쪽 벽을 따라서 가면은 못 잡을 걸 알고 있었기 때문에
Well, I knew that
콜 없이 그냥
I was able to pull that off, so there were no specific calls, but I knew the best route to catch all the players. And we were really curious about the redemption build. Was it all planned?
원래 연습 경기에서 계속
Yes,
구원을
during the
사용하고
scrims
있었고
we were using
좋다고
redemption a
판단돼서
lot,
대회에서도 꺼낸 것 같아요.
and I think it's pretty good, so that's why we also went with redemption build on competitive games.
타잔 선수가 제가 알기로는
Tarzan, he's
폴랭에서
actually,
어떤 유저가 올라프로 구원 가는 거 보고
he told me that he saw some other user going redemption build on solo queue and he thought it was really good.
한번 찾아봐야 될 것 같다는
I think we better find out who is the one that started that amazing build. So game 1 was a little bit close, but game 2 was quite dominant. Were you guys trying to play more aggressively? It's not about actually playing aggressively. Well, I had a lot of hard times during the laning phase because I was hit by too many skill shots, but Tarzan was playing so well in game 2. But your Zoe was so impressive because you were landing all your Sleepy Trouble bubble. Is there any tips?
수면은 일단 심리전도 중요한데
It's actually a mental game, but also you have to be lucky. Were you lucky today?
네, 운이 좋아서
I was lucky today.
스킬샷이 좋았다고 생각해요.
That's why my skill shots were landing so well. And your most picked champion is Zoe. Is that your favorite champion? Does it connect well with you?
보다는 항상 조이 꺼낼 땐 할 게 없어서 꺼내는
I don't really feel like me and Zoe has really good connection. I just have nothing to play but Zoe, and that's why I always lock in Zoe. Then let's check out these highlights. So, Sword was actually in the trouble, but you guys were coming for a backup with Tamkench ult.
소드 선수가 바텀에 녹턴공 왔다 하고
Well, Sword told us that Nocturne is using his paranoia on bot lane, so asking for a backup.
기억은 잘 안 나는데
I don't really remember exactly.
리엔즈 선수가 공을 타보라고
So
해서
Lee Hans
탔더니
told me to
킬이 들어왔어요.
get into my belly, and I was lucky to pick up the kill. So you just listened to what Lee Hans said, and you got the kill, right? It's always entertaining to have an interview with you, Chovy. And your next opponent is SK Telecom. There are a lot of hypes around it. How are you preparing for it?
따로 데뷔하는 건 없고
Nothing really special.
계속 지금처럼 계속
We're just gonna keep
잘해지려고
this hard work going,
항상 노력 중이에요.
and we're just trying hard to always play consistently. Are you confident enough?
당연히 이길 자신 항상 있어요.
I'm always confident to win. So thank you very much for this interview, Chovy, and congratulations on your 4 games winning streak. So this will wrap up today's series, and it was a bit of a short day compared to yesterday. And I'm gonna pass it back to our casters. Thank you.
Thank you, Ji-sun, for the translation, as always. And yes, it feels like whenever I come here, it's 2-0-2-0 real quick. Wrap it up. Lots of Griffin as well, so that does factor into that one. But I love how Chovy is just literally trolling in the interview, saying, yeah, I just got lucky and like this kind of thing. Not actually trolling. In Korean culture, they like to be very modest and just say, it just kind of worked out, and that's why it worked well today. But literally, that man is a monster on the Zoe, and it's hard to not give it to him because then you'd have to ban Zoe. It's just it's a multitude of problems whenever you're facing Griffin, Papa.
You only get 3 bans in the first round and 2 in the second round, and too many problems being offered by Griffin at the moment. Well, a lot of people in the crowd here, of course, when we had our interviews after Game 6 yesterday, not many people sticking around, very close to the trains and all public transit shutting down. But just before 10 p.m. on a Friday, a lot of Griffin faithful want to listen to Chovy. They know there'll be plenty more MVPs. Interviews with this person. Really nicely done, the 84 KDA. Such an insane stat. Griffin continue a perfect season so far when it comes to the scoreboards. Some blemishes. If I could have an asterisk, it would say asterisk HLE G1, by the way. But we don't have asterisks. We only have scorelines. And the scoreline right now is that Griffin are a level above everyone else. They're the only team not to drop a single game. Matches back tomorrow. That will be you and LS for Kingzone versus Afrika. Suddenly very interesting, with both teams coming off a victory. And then Sandbox versus Hanwha Live, actually a top-of-the-table clash.
Both of those matches are going to have tons to talk about. Kingzone and Afrika looking for their second win here in Sandbox. Another one of these teams that everybody's asking, are they just another one of these super strong, new, young challenger teams that are going to wreck the LCK? And Hama Life on the same kind of page where everybody saw them in the Kespa Cup and they were like, oh, who is this team? You know, what's going on? And then all of a sudden they come into LCK and they start clapping some folks. So really excited for tomorrow. Should be fun.
It's going to be a great time, and I look forward to watching it at home.
Yeah, happy birthday to Papa for tomorrow. Make sure you guys send him all the nice messages you can. We're going to be having a fun time here casting tomorrow, me and Ella, so make sure to